G'day viewers, this is Troy from Troy's Digital Arts channel. I've fired up my Iconoscope camera today for the first time in a few weeks. Because I've been sidetracked with other interests and things I had to get done. But now I've decided to get back into my Iconoscope camera again and do a bit of work on it. Okay, the other day I was looking at my two lenses that I use for this camera. My initial lens that I use, which is two big magnifying glass lenses, and the one that I've been using for the camera when I first got it operational. Well, anyway, I found that my large lens, or two lenses, happen to allow more light to the tube than this single lens here. So I decided to rig it back up again, and here is my double magnifying glass lens rack, which I can rack back and forth with ease. Well, anyway, yeah, I thought I'd try it out on the tube to see if I can get better pictures, more contrastier pictures. It seems to have worked a bit. I'll just focus it on my car. Be nice if I can easily show you the image projected onto the Iconoscope's mosaic. But it's not that easy. But I'll just look with my eye and adjust it so it's in focus. And on the screen, there's my car. Of course, the image is totally stretched width-wise, so because of the fact that not enough current's going to the horizontal coils, which is, which is a bit of a problem. I think that's also the reason why I'm not getting much contrast to the picture too. I guess as the image is expanded, the less intense the video signal is coming from it. Something like that. Or less intense the beam might be even striking it. What I've learnt from the last time I've fired the camera up with the proper Iconoscope yoke is that the beam is only scanning a narrow area of the tube. So hence, and that narrow area stretched across the screen will give you a fat image width-wise. The vertical scan is quite fine, and it seems to be scanning from top to bottom by the looks of it. So I can see the tops and the bottoms, and with the, get my screwdriver out, when I adjust the height, I can squash it right down and see the whole image. As a matter of fact, you get more contrast when you do squash it down. It's quite a cool effect too that you get, a bit of distortion. I can see the top and the bottom of the framing of the Iconoscope's plate with the which is riveted in. As you can see, I can see the rivets and everything. When I stretch it, of course, I get less contrast. So hence that's probably the reason why I'm not getting much contrast from this tube. I mean, the tube seems to be quite healthy. It's producing an image, of course. But yeah, and the width, of course, here I can stretch it out even further, but I can't adjust the width in enough to get a proportional picture. So it looks like a 4:3 image displayed on a, how should I put it, super widescreen TV, not 16:9, but more so a much wider kind of screen. So yeah, the image is quite wide. And on computer editing of the video, I sort of I sort of narrow the width of the picture so it looks proportional and it looks like a portrait portrait size video, which the height is larger than the width. A bit like the old mechanical vertical scan TVs that of the 20s and 30s, which use portrait scan instead of landscape scan. Anyway, I'm sort of fiddling around a bit. As mentioned, yeah, the contrast is very low because here I've got deep contrast on my car, where you got the sunlight shining on the car, and you got the shadow from the roof of the house on the other side. And here it all the shadow looks almost non-existent. So yeah, there's very, very poor contrast. I need to somehow get more contrast to get even more visible looking pictures. Nonetheless, I'll get there very soon. Also, I've been playing around with the idea of bias lighting, because these old tubes actually use bias lighting to get more contrastier pictures. I've kind of decided to shine the torch on the tube, and when I move it up, I can briefly get more contrast when I move the torch across. It's only for a brief period of time before it levels out as a picture lacking in contrast. So yeah, there is reaction there. I want to see if I can add some bias lighting to this tube. I think it's probably a few globes, probably around the edge of the mosaic, or somewhere around the edges of the tube. I'll have to look into that. So that's another thing I'm going to be trying out. Now, of course, I need to also get the blanking sorted out, because I can see the retrace lines, and yeah, I need to get rid of those. The problem with the blanking circuit on the deflection board is the fact that it's actually not designed to blank off and then return to the cathode voltage of the cathode of the tube, which is about minus 950 volts. That's the problem. It's designed for the Vidicon camera, which I'm not sure what its cathode voltage is, but it's something significantly lower, I believe. So yeah, I'm going. My friend Richard Deal is going to try and design a blanking circuit for me to use for my camera, and hopefully I'll have that rigged up, and the retrace lines will disappear. And apparently having blanking will actually improve the signal strength from the tube as well, I was told. So that's another thing to look into. Yeah, the main thing is I need to somehow increase the current to the horizontal scanning deflection coils in the Iconoscope yoke. Another thing I need to do is sort of raise the tube a bit so it's centered to the lens I've currently got in there. And so yeah, I'm going to have to probably move the yoke mount up a bit. And yeah, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. So yeah, the tube's just sitting in there, sitting on blue tack and felt, or foam, shall I say, just holding it up, and it's kind of it's not quite sitting parallel with the lens. It's kind of a bit slanted a bit. I just had it up enough so I can try and focus the image onto the plate as centered as possible. Anyway, I'm just playing around with the voltage of the first grid, trying to improve the image a bit. So yeah, that's my latest update on my Iconoscope camera. Yeah, incidentally, my mate Richard Deal of Lab Guys World, he has an ex-bomber camera that uses an Iconoscope tube like mine, and it's been, it's been modified to run off television scan and the standard NTSC standard television scan, and also has its own separate power supply made in the mid-50s, and he actually has got it up and working enough to make a crude picture, which is displayed on his viewfinder monitor from one of his cameras. He didn't have a standard monitor handy at the time, but anyway, I'm really pleased that he got his camera up and going. He's currently having a few problems with the camera. A few things went faulty or something, but he's working on them when he gets back on the project. So yeah, another camera up and going. There's actually now a few Iconoscope cameras working around the world. The Early Television Foundation has got, in America, has got one of their ex-bomber cameras up and going. Maurice Schechter has got a couple of bomber cameras up and going as well. He specialises in the history of those type of cameras that are used during World War II, and he's got an Iconoscope camera going and a mini image orthicon camera going that was also used. And of course, in Japan, Yoshi Osaki, he's got his homemade camera working, which inspired me to make this camera. And his camera works brilliantly well, as those familiar with my project, familiar with his video, can see. So yeah, there's a few Iconoscopes around the world now back in operation again, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, enough rambling on. Just finishing off this video. So yeah, this is my large lens, and fitted, and it's actually, I actually initially designed this camera lens carriage for this particular lens, and it slides quite nicely down the railing. And this is actually a dipstick off from a car used for the oil. So yeah, I'm one of those guys that makes things out of whatever I can find. I wrap some tape around the edges to stop stray lighting going to the tube. So put some taping around the front there and taping around the back. Seems to have done the job quite okay. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more updates. I hope sometime in the near future I can get this camera working really, really well. This is Troy from the Troy's Visual Arts channel, signing out.